Boom. Welcome back. This is not a technical glitch. This is actually the second straight week. We're back at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Well, 9:20, I guess it is now, because we got distracted and started talking about other things. But we're back. It's another kind of ragtag crew here. It's not the group of five, but we got Frank is back from his world travels. He has seen all corners of the globe.
Frank hasn't been
has
home for like
returned.
6 months.
Yeah, he has returned with many a tale. And of course, Dylan, as you're he's been everywhere lately. I mean, he's been on Casual
Everywhere.
Big Ten, Big
The
Ten
Huddle,
Huddle,
Kent's
Huddle After
podcast,
Dark or something that he's doing
this
over there.
podcast. I did a 2-hour huddle the other week. Was it 2 weeks ago? So like we got to like an hour 30, and I was like, "What's the longest you've ever done, JR?" And he was like an hour 45. I was like, "Well, tonight we're doing 2." So making records here, ladies and
Good
gentlemen.
deal.
So
Well, that's
PSA
definitely
to you guys here and to everyone listening. We are back on Facebook.
Hey,
We've jumped through all the hurdles. We've checked all the boxes, and I just sent us out a test comment. We're live on Facebook right now. So
yeah, my
for
mother
those of
was
you who tune in on Facebook, tune back in, because we've checked all the boxes, we've jumped through all the hoops, and we've done what Facebook asked us to do. I guess they're trying to filter out some spam, and lots of people who I don't really know what they're trying to filter out, but you have to go through all sorts of stuff to prove that you're real and you're
Well,
not.
the boomers
fake.
over there are getting tricked over everything, so they got to really. My mom was like, "Why isn't it on Facebook anymore?" I'm like, "You can go on YouTube," and she's like, "What? What's a YouTube?"
Yes. So anyway,
So
I
obviously,
didn't mean to
if you're
interrupt
listening
you.
on audio platform only, that is Frank's voice. Like I said, he is back. So with that, we're going to start with some basketball, because he leans basketball. He's the basketball mind, basketball guru, and there is some basketball news. So Frank, I'll let you lead into that, and then whatever you got from the last month or two that you've seen in Purdue sports, you want to comment on what we might have done. What you got, man?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Edie had 15 points, 14 rebounds. I may have those numbers flip flopped. 14 of one, 15 of another, regardless. 4 blocks too, which is pretty interesting. But I like, numbers aside, I think the coolest part of his debut was just that he showed that he can play at that pace, and I thought pretty well. I mean, never the first time they subbed him out, maybe he looked a little bit tired, but I don't think as a whole he really showed a lot of fatigue. His offense looked good. He was setting a lot of ghost screens. He was moving well. Was really, really aggressive defensively, which goes back to what we kind of said all season, and that his lack of defense, I'm air quoting here, is more due to the scheme more than anything else. It wasn't him being lazy. It's not due to lack of ability. It was Painter telling him, "Hey, we need you in the game. Stand up, jump straight up, make an 11-foot barrier. If the shot goes in, so be it." But you rarely saw him contest shots face to face. You saw him try to block shots from behind or from the side. And that's why, people complain you never foul. Well, he wasn't really aggressive. And we saw, against the Utah Jazz Summer League team, he was really aggressive. So I'm impressed. He's it seems like the college basketball, maybe pro basketball world has kind of flipped their view on Zach Edey in 24 hours. It's gone from he'll never make it to favorite for rookie of the year, I've heard now. So I don't get it. We're just seeing what we've known for quite a while now, but I'm excited for the guy. I'm excited to see what he'll do. I'm excited to see him play with the full roster. I'm excited to see him play with John Morant and see what that dynamic looks like. It's gonna be a fun season, and no one deserves it more, in my opinion. I will say it was weird to see him and Cam Spencer on the same team. That was just hard for me to swallow. Love Cam Spencer just as a person, he's burned us a few times. That he went off in that Rutgers game, and then the national championship game and all that. So I'm sure they've had some laughs about that now that those guys are teammates. But yeah, great performance from him. Super excited to see what he'll do, and hopefully he can silence all the people who seem to hate him for very little
Yeah, the
reason.
lady from
Yeah,
Yacht.
Dylan, I see you stewing up there. You checking for the latest tweets and videos from a certain someone there?
That lady, first of all, okay, she compares him to Shaq and Hakeem Olajuwon, and then goes on to say he's one of the worst draft picks in history. You can't compare him to two of the best centers that the league has ever seen, and then be like, worst draft pick ever. And that, like, I hate that stuff. Yahoo Sports didn't even know they were still around. Like, legitimately thought they were like AOL and just like, see you later. but apparently they're the AOL of basketball coverage, because that lady, I don't even know her name. I'm not even gonna say her name. Like, just to try and get those types of clicks with that type of nonsense. I'm trying not to curse.
Yeah, and so for anyone who doesn't know what Dylan's referencing is,
Yeah,
I
you may
think
want to preface it.
it was on draft night. Someone from
It
Yahoo
was after he got
Sports,
drafted.
yeah, it was right after Edie got drafted. Some woman, like I said, we won't say her name, from Yahoo Sports, decided to get on Twitter, decided to tweet her thoughts in the form of a video of herself talking. Everyone's entitled to think what they want, but I mean, she posted some hot takes, and that's what those people are out there trying to do. They're trying to get engagement. They're trying to stir up. I mean, how many times was that video shared? If she had gone out there and said, I think this is a great pick, probably wouldn't have been shared nearly as much. But the fact that, you know, she made up some words. She said this is the shockingest pick, I think, in the draft, something like that. And you know, but like this whole notion that, you know, we're in this guard centric era. I mean, it's true to a degree, but when we look at the last 6 MVPs of the NBA, they've all been bigs. So we have the last time a guard won was Harden in 2018, but then it was Giannis twice, Jokic twice, Embiid, then Jokic again. Like we're the pendulum is swinging back. We're seeing more and more dominant bigs at the next level, and I'm not saying we're, you know, I'm going to put Edie in that category, but like it's coming back. The era of the center is slowly emerging, you know, and coming back. So yeah, that was quite a hot take. It was just,
But you're
you
right.
know,
That's all it was
Yeah.
her looking for clicks. And
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, on that
absolutely.
engagement farming note, like I saw where someone tagged her, Cincy Blitzboards, what's up, guys? Um, I saw where she commented, or like she was tagged after D's performance last night, and they were like, "Well, what do you think now? Now he's a favorite to win Rookie of the Year." And she commented something like, "I'm on the way back from watching the U17 FIBA World Cup
Euros,
in Istanbul, where I watched actual NBA talent." Like, she 100%. This is engagement farming, trying to get Yahoo or wherever she's at relevant again to try to get a raise. Like, that's all that is.
Here's the thing: Yahoo's never going to be relevant again. Like, legitimately didn't know they had a sports coverage anything.
Hey, I mean, I check stock prices on Yahoo Finance. Come on.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, they're actually one of the top fantasy football like sites. Like they do a lot of like
Well,
football.
okay, guys. Geez, let's not give him too many compliments. All right.
No, I'm just trying to paint a clear picture here.
I
That's
thought
all.
Grandpa, like, well, that does include Russ. I got my Gmails from Yahoo, and I
As long
have
as
it
it's not,
because I
as long
like
as it's not
saying
AOL and AOL email.
It's Hotmail.
address.
Thank you very much. Hotmail.
Hotmail.
That's-
Gee, Hotmail sounds like a website you don't want to go to.
But she kind of, in my opinion, is trying to parallel what we saw. I'll use his name. It's been long enough now. What we saw that gentleman Aaron Torres do this past season,
Oh, I thought you were going to
where
say
he just continued to bag on Edie, talk about the fact that he has no skill, he's just tall. Purdue fans lost their minds, of course, understandably so, because anyone who watches him actually play a game knows that that's not true. But he just continued to stoke the fire, to feed the troll. As I don't even know if the kids say that anymore, but people said that when I was much younger, you know. But he just continued to stoke the fire, we'll say. But he was doing it to get engagement. Every time he did, it got retweeted 100,000 times and billions of comments, and you know, mostly Purdue fans being upset. So
I feel like
the
kids
number
still
one
say that.
Do they? Do kids say feed the troll? I don't know what kids say.
I don't know about
Dylan.
feed the troll, but trolling's still a thing.
Did y'all see where they talked about like the EA college football game, and they're like, we're gonna resurrect the EA college football engine, and the guy like reboots or whatever, and he's like, what's going on? They're like, dude, it's been 11 years, but we're bringing college football back. And he's like, that's amaze balls, and they're like, yeah, kids don't say that anymore.
I don't even remember amaze.
Yeah, I don't remember that ever being a
that
thing,
was good. And they're like, Oregon and USC and Washington are in the Big Ten. He's like, what? What's going on?
I listened to the younger, the people roughly 10 years younger than me speak, and I don't know what they're saying. I genuinely don't. I'm like, I don't understand the slang. Things tend to cycle, you know, but they're really doing a good job of doing some creative things, making up some new words and stuff. So,
I literally just turned 28 yesterday. Ooh, I just noticed that jersey in the background. That's worked. Anyway, I don't know half the stuff these kids are saying. It's like, I'll be working in the middle school next year, and I'm probably gonna learn a few things. So then I get to come here and use the lingo, you know, the no caps and the dabs. I don't think kids still dab. But I'll bring some lingo. I'll let you guys know I'm about to be in the mouth of the beast, and so maybe I'll get to learn a thing or two, and I'll start dropping some sick no caps, which means
And
you're
then we have
not,
no idea what you're saying. So
you're not lying, right? Like,
yes,
I'm,
yeah, cap is lying. Like if you're a cap factory, that means you're just full BS, man.
hey, that Yahoo lady, she's a cat factory.
100%,
Dennis,
100.
where do you learn this? Is there a local clinic or a class or something? Because I'm impressed. I didn't know what this meant. I need to figure out how I get educated
So
on these types of things.
my boss and I, we go back and forth trying to learn the new lingo because he's got kids that are like between the age of like 8 and 15. So that's kind of where my source is. But yeah,
I do know that kids have to slap the top of doorways every time they go through it.
I
That's
mean,
the
I did
thing.
that when I was a kid, though. Like
Well, I
that's
know, but that's the thing I learned working in the elementary last year is every 5 seconds you just hear you're like, oh, another kid entered a room. Like that's what that is.
you know
See,
the
for me,
dumb
it
game
was
that we
always
played.
the exit signs. I would always
Yeah,
jump up and
yeah.
smack the exit signs and feel awesome about it.
You
Russ
enjoy
would
this,
hit
Dylan. You know one game we used to play in high school. So we had my school building was so
sticks
old
and stones.
that it had a boiler still, right? Like that old school boiler system.
Listen,
Yeah,
one of our schools still, and we get a new one halfway in next year. But yeah, we still have a boiler.
there you go. So you know what I'm about to talk about. So if you aren't familiar with the boiler system, there's this big. And I'm not going to be great at explaining this because I'm
My
not
house
smart.
has a boiler.
Um,
Boiler. That's how
Essentially
old
there's
my
this
house
big
is.
machine in the basement of this building of our school building that boiled water, right? Like steamed up water and then ran it through pipes that went to every single room in the school that had like a little radiator thing, and it just like ran it through and then ran it back out and just cycled it through and kept cycling. That's how you heated the whole building. Well, we played a game where we would hold the pipe of that incoming hot water and
Jesus.
see who could hold the pipe the longest.
Lord.
that,
You got to get some
was a painful game.
blisters
Oh yeah,
because
100%.
my
It was a
house
painful
has
game.
that, and these things get hot.
Yes, I definitely since he blitzboards, I had to walk 5 miles to school up hill, 100% in the snow, even in June. Yep.
Hi, my name is Russ Johnson, and I graduated in
So
1902.
one question I wanna ask you guys about Edie and his performance, and just going back to the draft for a second. How important is that now that in the last 3 seasons we've had a player go top 14, right? Or top
Huge.
10. We've
It's
had a
huge, yeah.
player go
It's from the
top 10.
same class. 2 guys from the same class, yeah.
2 guys from the same class. And so both of these guys too was Jaden Ivey a 3-star? I think he was a 3-star at first when he was first recruited, and then kind of flipped to a 4-star, changed to a 4-star later. But both of these guys were, I think it's fair to say, under recruited for their talent level.
Yeah.
What kind of momentum does that give the program? Yeah, I think, in my opinion, disagree, agree. But I think it sends a message that, like, you come here, you buy in, you end up. I mean, Jaden Ivey came here, bought in to a degree, maybe sometimes went a little rogue, but for the most part, he bought in. No one bought in more than Zach Edey. I mean, for a guy who has that kind of shooting ability to shoot 2 threes this season, I think technically 3, but his foot was on the line for one of them. I mean, I just think that, in my opinion, that is going to be huge going forward, and as we kind of enter this new era of NIL and transfer portal and all that. But as far as the Big Ten goes, Khalil Ware, he went 15th. He was a guy who was, projected, I think, top 5 coming out of high school. Terrence Shannon Jr. went 27th. He was a guy early in the season, they were saying top 5. And so I just think it's just a testament to Painter and his staff and his program, the fact that he's able to put these guys in the, top 10 positions. So just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge for big picture for Purdue as well. Like, you hear over and over again that you've got to have NBA talent to win a championship. And now we're starting to churn that out. And I think there's guys on our roster that will get drafted in the NBA, and guys coming in this recruiting class are going to get drafted in the NBA. So I think it's huge for our future development and growth as a program as well. Not just in getting guys to come to the program, but our end goal and success of the program is just continuing to go up. So
who right now on the roster, Russ, do you think has the highest potential to get drafted?
On the roster, right? Like freshmen or from last year's roster that's returning?
Let's just say anyone on the roster currently.
I think Camden Heide. I think he has, you saw it start to get unleashed late last year, and I think he's a freak athlete. He's a good shooter. and he's a good passer. And if he just continues to improve, I think the sky's the limit for him. Like, I think he could definitely be like a back end first round talent. And that's not to say other guys aren't. I think Braden Smith will play in the league. I think Miles Colvin has a chance. Fletcher Lawyer, as much hate as he's gotten, he might be kind of more of an undrafted free agent kind of guy that gets in as like a shooter and kind of instant offense. But like I said, I think there's several guys on this team that will play at the next level.
Yeah, I think when you talk about Fletcher, I think he has a highly portable skill set, meaning that you can just drop him in an offense and he's likely to fit in. Didn't Painter have some things to say about his hate, like the hate that was being cast toward him in one of his recent podcasts?
Yeah, because he was talking about like how can you hate on the guy when you look at what he does in the biggest games? Like, look at Arizona. Look at was it Tennessee, right? It was Tennessee and Arizona. He both of them he dropped 27 on their regular season. So he's already proved he's done it. So where's the hate coming from? Like, just because the game plan didn't go his way that game, like, doesn't mean he was a bad player. Like, he was still, I believe, was it top 3 or top 4 in the Big Ten and 3-point shooting percentage, as much as everybody tried to say he wasn't shooting or wasn't a great shooter or whatever. Like, he still had a solid season.
Well, and you establish gravity. When you show that you can shoot the ball the way he has, even if the shot's going in, or the shot's not going in, you're still opening up things for other guys because you have to stay put on your guy in the corner. So, by running Fletcher off screens and, keeping him in the corner during pick and rolls, you're putting defenses in tough situations because they have to respect his shooting ability. So there's that aspect as well. But, some questions here. Do you think Edey jersey sales went up in Memphis or in the Grizzlies fan base? It wouldn't shock me, to be honest. I know me personally, I try my hardest not to buy jerseys of current players. I wait till they retire. But I'm not sure everyone holds that sentiment. But yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all. It seems that the fan base, like from what I gathered as a whole, is pretty excited. So it wouldn't surprise me at all.
I'm definitely gonna get, like, I'm not a big retail jersey guy to wear, but I'm gonna get a Grizzlies t-shirt. That's for damn sure. Oh, look, the handsome Johnson is here.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Big Dan, what's going on, brother?
So speaking of that, are you guys before I read this, are you guys anything else with basketball before we try to transition to football? Because football is much closer on the horizon, and I'm pretty pumped about it. I don't know about you guys.
Zach Edey, good at basketball. That lady from Yahoo Sports stinks. Okay.
Yeah, main takeaways. I think you summed it well, Dylan. Idea just popped in my head. When Edey comes to Indianapolis, we should go. We should go see him play.
Ooh, that's a good point.
We should do that.
100%.
We should have a little.
You think he'll stick around and sign autographs like he did in Mackey? Like, you think?
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, and I guarantee if he didn't, it's only because he has some like time obligation or something.
Zach Boyle Express, come on the show.
But yeah, Russ, why don't you address this?
Yeah. So
hi, Dan.
Thanks, bro, for tuning in. He says, I was dreaming about the homecoming football game last night. Time to kick off the season. Boiler up and hail Purdue. I think we're down to what, like 50 something days, or is it or in the 40s till football starts?
Like
hey, Dan's got hair. Does Dan have hair?
Yeah. What's that?
Does Dan have hair?
Yeah, he's got more hair now. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Man, he really is the cool brother.
Oh man. Since
are you gonna break Dan to football games?
I'm gonna tell funny. Oh, I mean, for sure. We'll try to get to a game for sure. I mean, are you gonna? I mean, no, we won't get into that. We won't get into that.
Are you gonna come to games?
Since you brought up the hair thing, I'll bring up a funny story. When we were younger. We were younger. I think we were in like high school. And we were at like some camp or something, and some kid like pointed at us because we're twins and we're fraternal, but we have different birthdays. And so he pointed at me and goes, "You're older," and points at my brother and goes, "But you're hairier." Like, what?
Wait, were you born at like 11 p.m. and he was born?
Yeah, I was born at like 11:30 at night. And he was born at like 1 a.m. or something.
Huh.
Yeah. So.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Really put my brain in a pretzel there for a minute, which is not hard to do. Granted.
Yeah. Very, very easy. So, do you guys
want to? Didn't have to agree to it. But
we're getting to football here, or do you want to like do Wisconsin and then do commercials?
Wisconsin's
and then
cursed.
Yeah, let's talk about Wisconsin, then we'll do commercial time.
Next up, I think this is our 5th game of the season, I believe. We travel to Madison to play Wisconsin, or just the hill we can't seem to climb or get over. 17 straight to the Badgers we've lost. They went 7-6 last year, first year for head coach Luke Fickell. Lost to LSU 35-31 in the ReliaQuest Bowl. They beat Purdue obviously 38-17 in Ross-Ade. So now we have to go back there
Don't
and
you
try to
skip Dan's comment.
avenge the last.
Don't you even skip Dan's
Oh
comment.
man, yeah. Anyways,
Thank you, Dan.
biggest
No,
addition for
we're
Wisconsin
gonna
is
take a moment.
transfer
We're gonna
quarterback Tyler Van Dyke from Miami.
love you, Dan.
No, yeah. Dan said, "Thank you, Dylan. You're the best looking one on the podcast." too."
Thank
So
you.
Dylan
So,
obviously sent him some money.
So Russ, as our resident historian, we have a question here from Vinny Sutherland here in the comments.
Vinny.
Wants to know when the last time Purdue won at Wisconsin.
So I actually know this. Do you guys know?
So Vinny guessed 2000. I think it was a little later than that.
I think it was 2003 was the year. Do you know the
Oh, this-
quarterbacks in that game?
Oh
Yeah.
man, 03. Would that have
Both
been
played in
Orton?
the NFL.
Been Orton,
Orton?
right?
Yeah, Orton.
I couldn't
Think
say.
Colts. Peyton's backup.
Okay.
Who was it?
Jim Sorgi.
You could have put a gun in my head, and I wouldn't have told you that.
So yeah, Jim Sorgi for Wisconsin. Kyle Orton
Shout
for
out to
Purdue.
Jim.
That was the last
So,
time that we beat Wisconsin.
Cody's comment here: new uniforms coming out on Thursday.
Ooh.
I'm hyped, but I'm also scared because I don't like change as well. So it's kind of a
I'm
mix
so
of emotions there. Yeah.
I like Boiler Uniforms released his mock-ups, and they look exactly how I want them to look like. So I'm pretty excited for that. And then hopefully I'll get one hung up on the wall like these bad. I almost have every one from the last set. I just need the gray one. So and then I have to start working on new collections.
My question is, what all do they release? Like, are they going to release specialty uniforms, or is it just like here's a home
like they
and
did
away
with
and an alternate,
these,
and that's it?
like these gold ones we didn't know about until like I think is it was rumored the day before the game before they wore them.
Right.
So they may, do that again. I don't know. I feel like Walters isn't that like he's not gonna. I don't know. He doesn't seem like the surprise uniform guy. Like he's gonna roll out some sick uniforms, and he's had a lot of input on them, which is cool. I know in the video, I guess I would assume it's one of the athletic, what do they call those guys? Equipment guys. There's the word. And he was like, they rolled out like every jersey from like the last 20 years or longer, and they just picked and choose what to put from last generation jerseys. So that makes me excited. And I think Boiler Uniforms had it pretty nail on the head when he comes to his prediction.
Yeah, Vinny said all blacks for Oregon. It's going to be a blackout. I agree. That's 100% the direction we got to go there.
No,
Vinny!
they
I think the
officially
direction of
announced
this
that
conversation kind of sums up how we feel about Wisconsin. Maybe like we just
today.
we went straight.
I want to talk about Wisconsin, Russ. You were talking about Tyler Van Dyke, right?
Yes, yeah,
I didn't
from
know that.
Miami.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, it is confirmed that is the blackout game. Vinny is right about that. So
But it's, okay.
back to Tyler Van
Vinny's
Dyke.
never wrong.
What are we thinking about Tyler Van Dyke, Russ?
I mean, I just, he's obviously a talented guy, but I just don't know. And the OHI guys have talked about this with their transfer quarterback. I don't know how often you can expect these like guys to transfer and in the first year just kill it. I don't think it worked great last year. Obviously, Mordecai battled some injuries for Wisconsin last year, but I don't, just like we've talked about in basketball with Illinois, constantly getting transfers. There's no debating they're getting talented guys, right? Like Illinois basketball is getting talented guys in. Tyler Van Dyke's a very talented quarterback, but getting in a new system, I mean, you see that with the NFL. I mean, NFL is also a step up in talent, but like just because you're a talented guy going into a position where you're going to get playing time doesn't mean it's going to be a success. So, I think Wisconsin could be in the same, boat that they were this past year, but I don't think they're going to be unbeatable. I don't think that they're taking a next step or anything like that. I think they're just going to be that Wisconsin team that's expected to go anywhere from 6 to 8 wins and be a tough task for us to actually take down this year. But one thing I wrote down for the last few games anyways was the start has been terrible against Wisconsin lately. Terrible. I know that the game Frank and Chris went to was particularly terrible. It was 21-3 in the first quarter. I think in that way it was the first quarter, first half in that one.
Yeah, it was the first quarter.
Yeah,
and that was a painful game because we won the rest of that game. We were down. I think after we were down 14-0, we won from that. We outscored them from that point. And that was the one that you all didn't even get to see on TV, right? Like there was another game that went late.
The game ran long, and by the time they turned on the Purdue game, it was 21-3 already, and we're like, "What the heck happened?" So yeah, that was crazy. Not enjoyable. Not enjoyable. What do you guys think this year? What do you think's the recipe? Do you think we have a chance? I mean, obviously I think it's fair to say we have a chance, but like, Do you think this is a key marquee win that Walters gets on the road to the rebuild, or do you expect to just kind of go in there and get kind of drubbed in the first quarter and then we can't get out of the hole again? Like, what do you guys think?
Well, I think the last, so I think the last two Wisconsin games, I think last year, Purdue kind of shot themselves in the foot. In my opinion, had a chance to win it up through the fourth quarter and just kind of fell apart. That was a game where he had like 4 turnovers, something like that. Or am I getting? I get the Wisconsin game and the Syracuse game mixed up from last season quite a bit. Because those are two games I felt Purdue could have won if they just not, put themselves in such a bad situation. But the recipe for Wisconsin in recent years, say the last 10 years, has been to just be able to kind of outlast them. So they do what they do and they do it well and they don't deviate from it. And so when I think back to the prototypical Purdue Wisconsin game of the last 10 years, I think about the game that went into triple overtime, where just, I was there. No one in that stadium really felt like we had a chance going into that third overtime, just because Purdue was so gassed. Wisconsin was just cycling in more and more and more offensive line and just getting 5 yards per carry all the way down the field. I do want to address some of Vinny's comments here, because I feel like his opinion matters quite a bit.
100%.
Middle pressure, he drops his eyes every time. It's good to know. I haven't watched a ton of film, but that'll be something to
I believe we have a gentleman that was third in sacks in the Big Ten last year that's good at some pressure.
That's true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Walters plays a front 50, which is the way to beat Wisconsin. Agreed. I just think you have to have the stamina and the personnel to to cycle in and out to continue to match up against what they do. But the question is we're going into the second year. It's a second year, right, as a head coach. Is that going to be Wisconsin football, or are we going to see a shift? Obviously, a good coach is going to come in and take the roster that he has available and do good things with it. And the roster he had available lended itself to that kind of power running game. Before the Wisconsin game last season, that was the game we had Jacob Thieneman on, and he talked about like when you go and play against Wisconsin, you know what they're going to do. And so are we going to see a shift? I mean, I'm guessing not, but so in my opinion, the key is just to outlast them. Defensively, just to be able to rotate bodies in, keep guys fresh, be able to, not take those 5 yard carries, cut them down to 2 yard carries at best. And then, offensively, do your thing. I mean, it's never been a battle that's been lost when Purdue has the ball. It's when Wisconsin has the ball.
I think the first part of it, Vinny's comment there that's on the screen is the biggest. We went and got corners so we can stack the box. So that was one thing last year that, we got guys that battled. Like I love the team last year. I love the effort they put out. It was a transition year for sure. But, we went and got Nyland Green. We went and got Kendrick Breedlove. We went and got, I think, 3 4-star guys for the defensive backfield that we can now stack that box and get after it and feel confident about our coverage in the back end this year. That I think that's going to be where we see the big turn. Like our offense was middle of the road last year in the Big Ten. Like it was, 6th, 7th, 8th in scoring, passing yards per game, etc. We obviously struggle turning the ball over, but if our defense can get to where we're middle of the road in the Big Ten just this year and take kind of that next step, I think people would be surprised when we win 7, 8, maybe even 9 games and take that next step towards, where Walters can take us to.
Yeah, I mean, and we also have guys with experience now, returning. We have Markevius Brown coming back. We have, Bochros Alessandro, who battled injuries a lot last season, but was pretty good in the limited time we saw. Dylan Thieneman, in the secondary coming back. Salim Turner Mahalan, who never really saw the field a ton last season, but, again, due to injury. So we have some depth at that position. So kind of a bold comment here. Our corners last year wouldn't play on my high school team. Again, that's from a Purdue football legend there. So take that.
Vinny, check your DMs. I sent you a link. Jeez.
Yeah, do with that what you will. But yeah. So there were some struggles last season for sure at the cornerback position. And especially in that kind of one-on-one scheme, just leaving those guys on an island like we did last season. But that's
Frank was pretty opinionated on a certain guy that got left on some islands last year.
Yeah, and I hate I hate that I can't think of his name. Marquise Wilson, right?
Yes.
Wilson. Yeah, he was great until he got hurt. He was without question the best corner Purdue had last season. It was very, very sad when he was injured. So yeah, I think we have a little bit more depth and maybe a little bit more talented depth at that position this season. So, we can trust those guys to be out there on those islands. We can stack the box a little bit more. I think that with the defensive scheme, schematically, we're in a good position to beat Wisconsin. It's just, can we actually execute it, and do we have enough depth to do so? Is going to be the big question there.
Yeah. Dylan, what do you think, man?
I mean, you guys nailed it. I was fixing my chair because the cushion was falling off. But no, I mean, yeah, you guys nailed it. I hope Purdue beats Wisconsin, for God's sake. I think that could be one of Walter's big wins, his first big win. And to bring home a dub from the Dubs would be pretty dang cool.
Yeah, Vinny says Walter's inherited an empty cabinet. They weren't cover guys. Braun played zone. 100%. 100%.
Man, this Vinny guy knows what he's talking about.
He does, man. He knows a thing or two about a thing or two, for sure.
Vinny, have you played football before?
So what do you guys think? What's percentage chance of beating Wisconsin? It's at, like I said, it's at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Billion.
Bold take here. But I've been to Camp Randall. It didn't blow my mind. It was very disappointing in my opinion. So I don't think the home field advantage is incredibly strong. It was like Virginia Tech was so much better. It was crazy. That being said, I still think this is a tough one. I think it's 65-35 Wisconsin, if I were to break it up into a percentage. Cody's very optimistic. Cody, are you saying 85% that Purdue comes away with the win or the loss?
Of course he's on the Purdue side. What are you talking about?
I think so. I just want to confirm. Vinny says we score 24 or more, we win. Yeah, I mean, I think I think, and I will say my answer to this could change drastically after week 3, let's say, because I mean, just there's so many transfers, there's so many unknowns. It's just hard to say. Yeah.
I have a huge hot take, and if Purdue scores more points than Wisconsin, that's a good thing.
Shocker.
Yeah, usually.
Shocker. Yeah, I think that, we talked about some chance for some marquee home wins for Walters this year with, Oregon being a Friday night game, Notre Dame being at home, Penn State being at home. I think that this could be the marquee road win to start off Walters' career at Purdue. I think we go in there and get it done this year. I think we finally get the monkey off their back. Like I said, our offense is there. I think they can definitely score 24 on Wisconsin. I don't think Wisconsin is the same knockdown, drag out football team. Like Luke Fickell wants to throw the ball. That's why he brought in Tyler Van Dyke. I don't think he's going to do a great job of making that transition. But I definitely, I mean, it's got to end, right? It's got to end eventually. Why not do it this year?
Can't go 100 years.
We went and won at Lane Stadium. Lane Stadium is supposed to be, according to EA College Football, it's one of the top 20 hardest places to play. So if we can win there, we can go win at Camp Randall. All right.
Wild
so
times.
I'm gonna toss out a purely hypothetical scenario / abstract question here, but let's say things don't go well for Purdue this season. Let's say Purdue has another 4-win season. What is the status around Coach Walters at that point in time? Is he in the quote hot seat? How do we as Purdue fans think that would go down?
I wouldn't even put him on a hot seat.
I think it 100% depends on what the roster looks like. Do guys jump ship and take off and we got to start from square one, or do guys stay bought in? Do we sit there and go, okay, this was maybe Cards last year. He's going to go, maybe he transfers or go somewhere else, but then Davila is the guy. We bring in another top 30 class. Like, kind of depends, because right now our incoming class is I think 18th in the Big Ten right now. I know he's a late closer. We got a lot of guys this last year on signing day, and even Terry Grant was May before he committed to Purdue, and he's a 4-star, 5-star guy. So I think it more depends on what does the roster look like? What do we read from the tea leaves on the team and the roster construction? The 4-8, we're I think 11th toughest schedule this year, so it's not much easier than what it was last year. And a lot of people are kind of expecting a 4-8, but if we're a 4-8 like we were last year, where we're competitive, I think from a performance standpoint, I think Walters is fine. It's just what's the buy-in on the roster, right? Because I think a year ago we wouldn't have imagined Nick Scorton transferring out, right? He was the Purdue guy. He was on Twitter after Braun left going, hey, coming to Purdue. He got, he was a big voice in the Davila recruitment. but then he's gone. So what that's the big thing to me is what does the roster look like if we go 4-8?
It's all
Yeah,
about
so
the money.
it's not necessarily Russ's. So what you're saying, if I'm understanding you right, it's not necessarily the record; it's the state of the program as a whole at that point in time.
Yeah, and also how we compete too. How we compete. I mean, we can't go 4-8 and get blown out like 6 of those 8 losses. Like this last year, we scored the most points on Michigan at least to that point in the season anybody did, right? And then
Mhm.
Ohio State was a was a 41-7, but it wasn't some 62-3 game like we've seen before in the down years of the Purdue era. But Fresno State's a good team. It was competitive. Syracuse was a bowl team. It was competitive. Virginia Tech was a win, and they went to a bowl game. Nebraska was a game we felt like we could have had. We just kept shooting ourselves in the foot. So it wasn't like we felt like we were outmatched necessarily last year. We just knew we were up against the wall, up against tough schedule. We were up against injuries. And so I think that's why it was still positive towards the end of the year. And that's why we've got so many ticket sales right now going into a year after we went 4-8.
And I think, when you look at the Illinois game, you look at the Minnesota game, and you see, these dominant performances that we didn't really anticipate. I think that shows that, last season Purdue was they were good when they were good, right? When you look at Syracuse, you take away the turnovers, Purdue probably wins that game. You look at Wisconsin, take away the turnovers, Purdue probably wins that game. You look at Fresno State, had Purdue just played a little bit better, they would have won that game, mostly on the defensive. So you're right in that if you take away Michigan, you take away Ohio State, Purdue was in every game, win or lose. And I think that is a stark contrast to, let's go back 2 coaches ago where, we were getting blown out by pretty substantial margins. So, I think that to react in the scenario that we have another bad season in any way would be premature, in my opinion. I just think, given the fact that we've had a really tough schedules, given the fact that, we've had some tough departures, and I know that's just the state of college sports these days, but yeah, I completely agree. Dylan, any thoughts?
I mean, no, you guys nailed it. Yeah, I don't know. Like Russ said, you can't get blown out. You can't have games where you absolutely get demolished. He's got to show that his guys are willing to fight for him and compete for him, and that he's got the aura of the team in a good spot. So I don't think. I mean, if we go 0 and forever, then yeah, that's not great. But if it's like a year like last year and you at least see a little bit of progress, I don't see a hot seat. I think, it's all too, and whether it's in college or the NFL, all too often you see dudes or coaches, getting fired after a year or two, which I don't think is necessarily fair. I think, especially in college and the state of the college, football and basketball, which and it's free agency practically at the end of every year. But no, I'd like to give Walter another go at it after this year, no matter what. Now, will Twitter agree with that? Probably not. If they go 0-2, there will be people calling for his job. I don't agree with that. I think it's a whole different world out there when you're talking about coaching college ball. So I'd like for him to get another year after this, and then at least get a 3-year. And after 3 years, if you're not getting it done, then we can have this conversation of whether his seat is hot or warm or whatever. But this year, I think, let the guy do what he has to do. I think the energy around the club, around the program is pretty good. I went a little soccer speak there.
Yeah, you're a Columbus Crew mode over there. Yeah.
The energy around the program is pretty electric right now. I think, especially when you look at right now with new uniforms, before the season, all the optimism. I like the energy he brings to it, and I think he'll build on it. Frankly, I think it's ridiculous if you're rooting for your favorite team's coach to fail. Like, why the hell would you do that? Like, that's not good fandom. It's not.
To be clear, though, I think it's clear the way that we ended last season attendance wise and the way ticket sales have gone this offseason that those fans this last year were in the minority for sure. Yeah. Even the ones that were like saying, yeah, we still went 4-8, it's crap, whatever. Dude, I took my dad to the 2-7 Purdue game, or 2-7 Purdue team that was playing Minnesota at home, already eliminated from bowl contention, and like 60,000 fans out of like a 61,400 capacity showed up. So
Purdue's got the support. It's out there.
100%.
It exists. You just got to bring something to the table to give the people a reason to come out. And I think just alone with the energy that Walters has brought has done that. Set aside the players, the play on the field, just the energy alone he has brought to the program, and a type of energy we've never seen. We've never had a coach we've had. You look at guys like Brom and Tiller; they're similar in some ways. Hope and whoever else, they're all, you can pick out similarities. Walters is like none of those guys. He's not Tiller. He's not Hope.
He's a
not
player's
Brom.
coach. We finally have an actual, not that like Tiller and some of these guys weren't, but Tiller was stoic on the sideline. Brom stoic, Danny Hope, Daryl Hazley. Like, this is like the first guy that like he is emotional.
He can match the physical energy of the kids.
100%.
Well, 100%. Dylan, it's very sad to say that you were not here for this. But at the rest of you remember at the Virginia Tech game, right after the players started coming back on the field, he was the first person to come out of that locker room, and he had his AirPods in. He just did a lap around the field and just kind of soaking it in. And he had this, I don't know how else to describe it other than like badassery, like aura about him. Where he was just like, I am going to go win this game.
At the game, though. I can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love Walters. Look, I like the guy a lot.
Frank, you remember who the second guy out of the tunnel was behind Walters, though?
Jack Ansel, I believe, right?
Well, I think Dylan Thieneman, actually. Ansel did, the special team guys did come out pretty early as well, but yeah, Thieneman was one of the first dudes back on the field as well. Like, he's gonna go off this year. He's gonna have a big year, because you talk about like being able to pack the box up front and having cover corners. Well, he's gonna be back there ready to eat too and be unleashed on any given play. He was better against the run than the pass last year, according to Pro Football Focus. So like, I mean, dude is gonna eat third team All-American.
What I love most about Purdue athletics is the players that Paint gets, that Walt gets, that any of these coaches get. They're not too big for their britches. They're not too. They're humble enough where they come out like Edey. Edey signed probably an autograph for every seat in Mackey throughout his career.
I don't know, man. Look at Deion Burks, for example. I mean, he was kind of a
true.
But for the most part,
the majority. There's always going to be a guy that doesn't want to. But like, look at this podcast. We got Vinny Sutherland, Stu Schweigert, Chike Okafor. We got the chief. I mean, like, we have alums that, like, Stu's a guy, Vinny's a guy. I'm going to make him feel old here, but I grew up watching those dudes when I was a kid, and I was big fans of theirs. And now I call Stu every so often. I text him. I talk to Vinny. It's just like, I don't know, the guys. I don't know. We got good people at Purdue, but I was just, back to like the energy of the program. I feel like a lot of the guys, you saw Hudson Card after Purdue made it to the Final Four. The man was in the streets. He went to games at Mackey, sat with the paint crew. Like, I don't know, we got good dudes within the program. And
Burks
then no, I'm talking about Ted, Boiler Uniforms, who I don't think, have you ever commented on a live podcast, Ted?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's the first.
Wow, about time. I just gave you a shout out earlier in the show.
Dylan, you make a really good point that there is a lot of pride and there is a lot of camaraderie. And we've had guys, like you said, come back even on our show. We've had Mark Hill-Jones on here multiple times, had Bryson Hopkins on, had Jacob Thieneman. Yeah, so just, the guys, and they're happy to come on. Stu's been on several times. Vinny's in the comments, all the time. So
been trying to get Vinny on the show if he'd answer his damn phone. Good Lord.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate what he adds. And he even said last year, Fresno and Syracuse beat us on illegal RPO plays. I have to go back and watch that. We'll watch for that. I got another comment here. Dylan, Boiler Uniforms, saw your jersey collection, had to say hi.
See, I got this 28 jersey because there were two of them, and our guy Parker, shout out to Parker, who has every Purdue jersey and helmet known to daggone man. I think he gave Ted a choice between this one and another one, and Ted chose the other one. So I got this one because Ted's cool and gets first dibs. But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a jersey nerd. Ted and I are homies. The Theodore homie. I don't know. I was trying to come up with a nickname. I couldn't do it.
Fail.
Shout out to Teddy. Love you, Ted. Come on the podcast. Oh, we need to have you. I need to figure something out. Ted, I'll text you. We need to have him on the show for the
It's just
uniform.
Dylan's over there texting and
I
DMing
just
everybody
had
during the
I
pod.
just had the idea that popped in my head, and I'll have my people call
scary.
your people.
That's scary. That's scary.
You know
So
what I
you
have
guys
to
want
say?
to? Speaking of Dylan, kind of going off. Do you guys want to play the commercials real quick and then talk about Illinois a little bit?
Yeah, we'll play the commercials. Yeah, it's a good time to collect our thoughts and reset. So
Take a deep breath.
we will see you all here in just
For the uniforms, I'm going to send you a text.
about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So we'll start with our partners at Martin Vintage and go straight into our wonderful sponsor, CBB Analytics.
Tell me, do you like to be fashionable? Do you like to look handsome or beautiful? Do you like being the best dressed Purdue fan you know? Well, guess what? We got just the place for you. It's called martinvintage.com. And if you go there, you will find the best in Purdue throwback designs on the market. I'm telling you, if you want it, they got it. Basketball, football, Purdue Pete logos, anything and everything. And if you go to martinvintage.com and use code BXP at checkout, they'll throw you 10% off your order. Now, that's a great deal if you ask me. Tell them that we sent you, and they'll say, hey, you have slightly above average taste in podcasts. Here's 10% because they're friends of the program, and we can't thank them enough. Again, martinvintage.com. Use code BXP at checkout for 10% off. Boiler up.
Attention all college basketball enthusiasts. Are you tired of just watching the game and ready to dive deeper into the stats and strategies that make college basketball so thrilling? Introducing CBBAnalytics.com, your ultimate destination for college basketball analytics. With CBBAnalytics.com, you'll have access to the stats and insights that you need to take your love for the game to the next level. From shooting percentages to player efficiency ratings, CBBAnalytics.com has it all. Get detailed player profiles, in-depth team analysis, player and team shot charts, and even in-game trends available all at your fingertips. Do you want to know how well Purdue shoots above the break threes with 10 or fewer seconds left on the shot clock? CBB Analytics has you covered. You want to see how different lineups perform in different situations? CBBAnalytics.com has you covered. You can get a free tier subscription, which allows you to see stats for just one team. But if you truly want to elevate your game knowledge, be sure to check out the Pro Tier subscription, which allows access to all 362 Division I teams. One of our favorite features is the in-game streaming system, which displays real-time stats, analytics, and even shot charts during live games. If you're ready to expand your basketball knowledge, check out cbbanalytics.com today.
Oh, that sultry music never gets old.
No, it never does.
I need to fix the Martin Vintage one. For some reason, it comes out of one side of everyone's speaker, which I don't understand how that works. But breaking news: Ted and I will be doing something in the near future.
Didn't take long.
Yeah, we worked that out during commercial break. Not sure exactly what, but it'll happen. I don't like Ted. Have you ever been? I don't know. He's probably still not watching anymore, but I don't know if he's even been on a pod before. He did stuff for Boiled, but I think he wrote. I don't write.
Here you go, Dylan.
We already worked it out.
Oh, you already
worked
it out?
Acting like I've never invited him on a podcast. I've invited you so many times. Don't even. Jiminy Christmas.
What's up, OHIO, gentlemen? Somebody has a birthday now, and I'll podcast from the den like a boss. My little boiler brother is all grown up.
Little. I wish I was little. It's one of the few times I've been called little.
Dylan.
It's my living room. The podcast room is upstairs, and it's hotter than sin up there. So I've just kind of put everything on this mobile bar cart, and we're living down here in the cool living room with air conditioning. My house is older than Russ, so the air doesn't get around as good. Shout out to OHIO podcast. Russ and I did a Purdue premiere. Nope, that's not the
preview.
word.
There you
go. Preview. We did a.
We're doing so
Purdue,
well.
We did a Purdue preview at the OHIO podcast with Eric. Go check it out. They have a lot of cool things going on. Even if you're not a Buckeye fan, they're pretty cool Buckeyes. They're my two favorite. 3 if you count JR. 4 if you count Aaron. Granted, he graduated from Purdue. People forget that. But yeah, shout out to the OHIO podcast.
All right, Russ. Let's talk about Illinois.
Yeah, so sixth game of the year, we go to Urbana-Champaign,
Champagne.
Champaign, Illinois.
Chris and I
It
will
is.
be at that game. Just
Oh, there you
FYI.
go. It is our second rivalry game of the year. We play for the Purdue Cannon. We're into mid-October now. It'd be October 12th, Saturday. They haven't announced the game time yet, but I mean, I don't have a lot of notes on this one, but I don't think we need a lot of notes on this one. We've kind of owned this one, right? 7 of the last 8 have gone the way of the Boilers, including 4 straight. They haven't beat us since before COVID, which feels like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Burt, I don't think the Burt experiment is really working out in Illinois, and I don't think it's going to work out. I predicted on the Big Ten huddle with JR. I think that Burt could not only be on the hot seat, but he could be gone after this year, maybe even during the season.
I just hope he's still there when we play him because I like watching him waddle up and down the
Oh, I
side.
agree.
A
But
large
he
human.
went 5-7 his first year. He did go 8-4 the second year, or 8-5. I'm sorry, including the bowl game, 8-5, and then went 5-7 again last year though. So kind of took a step back again. I think that's a good one, Cody. I like that one. Purdue 55 and Illinois 14.
When was the last time we scored 55? Well,
I
probably
think it's
against Indiana State.
Hey, don't Debbie Downer, man. Come
I'm
on now.
just
Jiminy.
Jiminy.
I do think it's a convincing win. I do think we go in there and take care of business. We've owned Illinois. It hasn't really been a rivalry. I celebrated, at least internally, anyways, when they announced, even with the new additions of Oregon and Washington, after they already did the schedule release with USC and UCLA, that when they brought in Oregon and Washington, they said we're still getting Indiana every year, we're still getting Illinois every year, because it's like, well, dang, if we schedule 3 winnable non-conference games, we're at 5 wins before we even start.
Those are our versions of playing 3 cupcakes to start the season, right? We just preserve Indiana and Illinois every year. But
exactly.
no, I think
we'll play Indiana State or Ball State, and there you go. There's your third. So
I think you're right, Russ. And I think, one of the things from last season that I remember in all the interviews I watched with players and with Walters, and he was saying that he looked at it as just another game. He looked at the game against Illinois as just another game. It doesn't matter. It's not anything special to him because he was part of the coaching staff there. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to call bullshit on that one. I don't believe that. I think that he goes into that game with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove that part of Burt's success was due to him. I mean, when you look at his best season, they leaned on their defense. Who ran that defense? It was Ryan Walters. So
yeah, that 8-5 year was the year that Walters won Coordinator of the Year and had a top 5 defense in the country. And then he leaves, and then Illinois steps back to 5-7 last year. So yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of its success was due with Walters.
Dylan, what you laughing at over there?
Yeah, you got to share, man.
We still no. I was just the fact we still Coach.
Oh, okay. I just saw you look at your phone and start laughing. I'm like, hey,
no.
Can't keep whatever's funny all to yourself.
Ain't anything funny. What do we?
Well, and we got the extra salt in the wind of we stole Reggie Love this year.
I was going to throw that in there as well. So we've taken coordinators, we've taken assistant coordinators, now we've taken players. What
Zach Guggenheim in the house.
Guggenheim, one of my favorite things to say. I love saying Guggenheim. I'm German. It's fine. My last name just isn't as long as Guggenheim. Mine's just Kuhn. It's 4 letters stuff.
Yeah.
He's also called us gents twice today. That's an honor. We're not normally called gentlemen.
I don't see a ton, Russ, that indicates to me that that we should be at all concerned about this game. I mean, historically, and by historically, I mean maybe in the last 4 or 5 seasons, Illinois has had, by purely the eye test, probably one of the worst home field advantages with respect to attendance, right? They've had almost no attendance. Even when their team is playing well, the stadium's, 25% full. I think they've had more attendance at their basketball games than they have their football games. So I don't see a ton there. It's hard for me outside of, Purdue shooting themselves in the foot, which we did see several times last season. I just don't see a ton that would cause me to think that Purdue would struggle in this game.
Yeah, agreed. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, you guys nailed it. I just want to see
laugh a lot.
Big old Burt wobbling down the sideline. It's one of my favorite views. I don't know. Burt's an interesting guy. He had some great assistants. We took one of them, so that worked out in our favor. Like Russ said, I don't know if he'll make it through the year. I don't know. It was an interesting hire to begin with. Where was he? Was he like in one of those assistants at Alabama before he came? Wasn't he at Alabama for a minute?
He's in
Like,
Arkansas for a minute, I thought. Right?
Arkansas. That's those one
Yeah.
of the same
But
college.
no, all you need to know about Purdue Illinois football rivalry. We talked about Hazel earlier. Hazel had 3 Big Ten wins at Purdue. 2 of them were against Illinois.
Wow, that's true. Yeah, game-winning kick, one of them.
Yep.
Man,
Yeah,
that's
so before Illinois, he was the linebackers coach for the New York Giants.
He's
That's where he came from. Before
The
that,
New
he
York
was the
Football
defensive line
Giants.
coach to the New England Patriots. Before that, he was a consultant to the head coach for the Patriots.
wow.
So that's crazy to think about. He was
I
a
don't know why I thought he was
consultant. He was a consultant to Bill Belichick. That was
He
in
probably
2018.
didn't tell Bill a damn thing. Bill's like, listen, I know what I'm doing. Just go ahead and go somewhere else, Bert. All right, leave me alone.
Can you imagine the pressure of being a consultant to Bill Belichick? Like,
You can't tell what can you tell? I don't care if you're Bert or daggone Nick Saban. What are you gonna say to Bill Belichick? Dude's won a billion Super Bowls. You're not gonna go up to him and be like, well, you know what I think? No, you're not gonna go up and say that. Maybe Bert has the cojones to do it. I don't know. But
comment here, Altmaier versus Carr might be one of the more underrated QB matchups in the Big Ten this year. Yeah, I could definitely see that, to be honest. Could be I don't want to say it could be a shootout because I believe Purdue's taking a step in the right direction with respect to the secondary, but it would be fun to see a shootout between those two.
you know, Kent from Casual Big Ten was doing a stream today, and he's flipping a coin to see who would win the Big Ten. I think it was. I don't know. I tuned in late, but he was a little disrespectful to our guy Hudson Card. One, he couldn't remember his name, and
Yeah,
two,
he remembered the freshman from Nebraska, but couldn't remember Hudson Card, man.
and then said some stuff like he wasn't going to do that good. Like I don't know where Kent is banned.
He's a basketball guy. He's learning the football side of things.
I
Like
know,
give
he's
him a
fine.
little slack. Like
He's banned from the Boiler Express until he puts out a written apology on Twitter.
The football rosters are a lot larger than basketball rosters. It's hard to remember all the names. It really is.
But like I don't know. I couldn't name every starting Big Ten quarterback. But you know, if you're missing, like, he is casual. He doesn't
Name
call
3.
himself.
Can you come up with 3 starting quarterbacks in the Big
Hudson Card.
Ten? You should have 2 at least.
Jiminy Christmas. I don't think.
No, he's
We've
not
already talked about one extension.
Yeah, Danny DeVito's son. No, that's TVD. That's it.
TVD, yeah.
And then
Travis Vanderdome. Travis Vanderdome, of course.
Yeah, there it is. That's it.
Yeah.
And then who's Ohio State's quarterback?
Will Howard.
Oh, yeah, it is Kansas State. Yeah,
Kansas
Will
State,
Howard.
yeah.
I nailed it. No big deal.
Nailed it.
I know things. It's like JR said one time, which like he did say I'm on a I'm on a Purdue podcast, but don't know a lot about Purdue. I know a lot about Purdue. I just don't know things about other Big Ten teams.
All right, Dylan. Trivia. Who is Iowa's quarterback?
Oh, white guy, number 12, long sleeves. Couldn't tell you his name though. Where's a Speed Flex with the Kirk Cousins face mask? I know what he wears. I'd
have to look that one up. Is McNamara gonna be their starter this year? Or is they got some?
That's why I asked because that's who I thought. And as he started talking, I had to question myself.
Oh,
yes,
you don't even know
he does wear number 12. So
and he wears long sleeves.
And so Dylan's got that photographic memory.
And a Revolution Speed Flex with the Kirk Cousins face mask. Ask me their numbers and what helmet they wear, and I'm like F7.
Yeah. I'm looking at pictures. He does wear long sleeves. That's
See, because you have to worry about quarterbacks that wear long sleeves. But like, and then there's Sam Bradford when he was with the Eagles, and his sleeves went down to his daggone wrists. But like, you got to worry about quarterbacks with long sleeves. It's just something about it. It's an aura that doesn't exist much in football as much as it used to. So you got to look out for those.
Poor Sam Bradford. Always had a ton of talent. Just could never see the field due to injuries. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on an hour, gentlemen. Anything else you guys got?
Oh my God, we are.
Anything? We got less than a week. If you did the early access, less than a week till college football.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Frank, are you getting a system? Are you? I know we talked about drafting who's going to be.
Yeah, I don't have a gaming console, so
yet.
Yeah. I don't know this. I don't know if this is necessarily the thing that'll drive me to get one.
Buddy, it's been driving me to abandon my family.
I'm not really a video game person, you know. I just don't have
Neither
the
am I.
attention span.
Like I
Yeah.
play 2K and Madden, and then I'll play this. And those are like my three. I can't do the Call of Duty type games because I get too into it. Next thing you know, I got the controller and I'm like actually holding it like a gun, a pew pew. Sorry, that may get us banned from YouTube.
Ooh, Vinny disagrees with me here. Sam Bradford fleeced the NFL, most overpaid guy of all time.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think he was a talented guy. He just couldn't be healthy. Couldn't stay healthy. He just couldn't be healthy. Didn't even
Vinny,
really play.
what was your 40 time? It's got to be pretty good. Russ, do you want to do a 40 time race at the first tailgate of the year?
Dude, let's do it. I got
And
you.
then we'll
I'll be at Indiana State for sure. I don't know if I'll make every game this year.
We'll
at
have
home,
two
but I'll
torn
be at Indiana
ACLs.
State. I'm gonna start
I
training
don't know.
now. You're gonna get smoked, dude. You get smoked, by an old man.
Listen, I may be a hefty fella, but I could run a 4.3 like Vinny. No, I couldn't. There's no way.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I played. Okay, just say what you will. I know it's people call it un-American, but I played soccer. Our high school was so
Boo.
small. We didn't even have
I'm
football,
good.
so I played soccer. And dudes described me as a greyhound going down the interstate. It took me a second to get going, but once I did, man.
Once you caught your stride,
bro. I mean, I'm telling you, like I could run down anybody if they were dribbling a soccer ball. Like if you had to dribble to slow yourself down, I was running you down.
So
Period.
Vinny ran a 4.3. Vinny, if you were to run one today, what would it be?
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, he was a track guy. I should have called you out on that one as soon as you said that. I was too worried about our race.
See, I won. You looked at me and I was probably probably could do shot put because
who was the most recent Purdue football player to also run track?
Oh, I know Mostert didn't he? Didn't Raheem?
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of, but then I immediately
got to be somebody more recent than that.
I immediately regretted saying that because I don't know if there's been anyone since him. So
no, yeah. Vinny can still push a 4.3. I believe it. Vinny's in good shape.
I mean, if we had a 4x1 team with this roster, I mean, you're talking about Dylan Thieneman, Kendrick Breedlove, is it CJ? What the heck's his name? I just blanked on his name. One of the kids from Georgia we got. One of the receivers from Georgia. They're saying he might be one of the fastest dudes. So that'd be pretty fun to watch.
Vinny, if I were to race you in a 40-yard, I'm 6'2", 295 on a good day. Would I lose? I think I would. I'd probably lose. Ooh, let's get Vinny and Stu 40-yard dash. Ooh, Vinny, who would win between you and Stu?
No, this is what we got to do. You and I team up with Vinny or Stu. You get Vinny, I get Stu, or I get Vinny, you get Stu, and we've got to like do it down and back, like a relay race.
I don't know if I can make it down and back.
2v2.
I can make it down. I don't know about back. Vinny said he would never, all caps, never lose to
all right,
Stu.
dibs on Vinny. Vinny's on my. I got Vinny on my side. Dibs. Old man gets first pick.
Jiminy Christmas.
Vinny says he would never lose to Stu.
Vinny, please, for love of all sakes, could we please get you and Stu on the same podcast before football season? I need that like I need oxygen. Like I need we should do like a presidential style debate between Stu and Vinny.
Like whatever the modern day equivalent is of, back when you used to buy, Dylan, you probably don't remember this, back when you used to buy CDs and it had the parental advisory.
I remember CDs.
Yeah.
Okay, geez.
We have to have the equivalent of like something like that in the upper right hand corner for that one.
We'll sell paper. We'll sell.
Do you know what a floppy disk is, though, Dylan? You know
I never used one, but I know what a floppy disk is. Yeah.
It's
also,
crazy.
I know how to etch the
remember
stone.
CDs,
like
though.
Yeah, I remember I bought CDs as a kid. Like, I was right on the brink, but like,
have you ever rewinded a VHS?
Yes, I have multiple times. I was a big like the orange Nickelodeon tapes. Those were my jam. The white Barney tapes, VHS tapes, were my jam as a kid. The Rugrats were always in the orange Nickelodeon ones. I'm not 18, fellas. I was born in 96, not 2006. Lord.
So fun fact, I had purchased my very first CD before you were born.
Damn.
I purchased my first CD in 1995.
How old are you, Frank?
I'm 34.
I
purchased my first CD at the age of 5 in 1995, and it was a band by the name of Chumbawamba. Some of you may remember.
Chumbawamba.
Yeah.
That's what
Russ would probably remember Chumbawamba. I'm not sure Dylan would. Given that,
I couldn't even begin to tell you what Chumbawamba was.
Yeah. So Vinny says 96. He was a senior in high school. Vinny beats all of us.
Sorry, Vinny. You were a senior when I was born. Tough. Still look better than I do.
You guys got anything else? Or you guys ready to wrap it up here?
No, my final thought is, Vinny, I need to get you and Stu on the same podcast because we could sell pay-per-views to that joint. I sent you a DM. Have your representation call me Vinny. Jiminy Christmas.
So we mentioned 2 of our 3 sponsors. I want to say Cincy Blitzboards again before we get out of here. They were obviously in the comments.
It's on your
Go
background.
check out at Cincy Blitzboards on Twitter. Or on X. They'll design you a cool little board. I got one behind me here. I think most of the BXP guys have one as well. They'll work with you on the design, get you a nice, pretty BXP board if that's what you want, or if you want a Cincinnati Bengals one. I don't know why you'd want that. Any team, whatever, they'll hook you up and get you ready for tailgate season this fall. Also, College Huddle. Go check out College Huddle. They got, I think we're up to like 70 something teams now that have podcasts. So if we're a little inconsistent sometimes, you want to go check out another Big Ten team or check out another program in the country, go check them out. Dylan and I have been on the Big Ten Huddle and the College Huddle, so go check that as well.
Shout out to JR.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick, way to come in the literal
right.
last minute of the show.
Just under the buzzer
bum.
there.
Also, Cody, would I autograph your tattoo post tattoo, or would you get my autograph tattooed on you? Because I would recommend you not get my autograph tattooed on you. That would that'd be tough. No, everyone's gonna be like, "Who the hell is that guy?" I'm a nobody. So no, you get a Rowdy tattoo. I'd probably get one with you on the right night. But you don't want my autograph tattooed on you forever. Oh my God, Nick, bring it. Bring it. 2 studly men just throwing fisticuffs.
Hey,
Nick come in swinging at the very end here.
We don't condone violence here, Nick.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. For anyone listening, Nick is saying he wants to fight Dylan. So
bring it. We'll do at the tailgate, we'll set up some sort of octagon.
Nick, I have to say, once a year you pop up on my social media memories of you just this shotgunning like not even a warm but like a hot Coors Light at the pre-Purdue Michigan game tailgate.
That makes me want to throw up just thinking about it. Good Lord,
yeah.
You animal, Nick.
Yeah.
Okay, Cody, I will sign it post tattoo with the Sharpie, but just don't get my autograph tattooed on you. By the way, my autograph, it's my signature, which is a D squiggly line, K squiggly line. So I mean, like it's nothing to write home about, literally.
Yeah.
So Russ probably still writes in cursive because he's old.
100%, man. I had to learn that stuff, man.
I did too, actually. I think
school actually made you smart instead of just had you take a bunch of tests. Put you on a short bus like Dylan had to be on.
Hey, I drove that thing. What you talking about? Lord Almighty.
But this guy, Ultimate Boiler, I don't know if you can skip over that comment there.
Who is that?
He snuck in under the wire as well there. He says Marcellus Moore, and I looked him up. I guess he was at school in 2020, so that is more recent than Marie Mostert. He was 4th in school history in the indoor 200 with a time of 21:01, so he's a fast dude as well.
Yeah, Marcellus Moore was very quick. Didn't play a ton, but yeah, he left though. That's
I don't see any football.
Ultimate Boiler, weren't you supposed to be on this podcast, you liar?
Ouch. Well, with that, let's go ahead and wrap. If no one's got anything else, again, shout out to CDB Analytics. Shout out to Martin Vintage. Shout out to Cincy Blitzboards. Go check out their stuff. They make some pretty sweet stuff. I think we're getting back into a cadence of trying to do this weekly. But be on the lookout for some cool collaborations coming here in the near future.
With our guy Boiler Uniforms.
Yeah, with our guy Boiler Uniforms. And going to have some awesome content for you guys this season. So looking forward to that. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. The Boilers by a billion, Dylan.
Boiler up.
Billion.
We're down.
Choo, choo, choo.